The meeting of the Marquette City Commission is called to order on December 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Larson?
Here.
Commissioner Mayer?
Here.
Commissioner Ottaway?
Here.
Commissioner Schlegel?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hanley?
Here.
And Mayor Davis.
Here. Commissioners, we have an agenda in front of us. May I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Larson.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second, Commissioner Schlegel.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion?
It's all set.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. I have no announcements this evening, so we will move right along to boards and committees. We have one reappointment. May I have a motion for the reappointment? Commissioner Ottaway.
I move to reappoint Robert Carone to the Downtown Development Authority for a term ending 1/1/28.
And a second? Commissioner Mayer.
I'll second the motion, Your Honor.
Any discussion?
No.
Pro Tem Hanley.
I would just like to thank Robert for continuing to serve. It's always nice to have continuity on a board, especially like the Downtown Development Authority, so it's great to have.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Which brings us to public comment. Comments may not exceed 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and physical address when making public comments.
Hello, Barb Outside, 1324 North Front Street. I wasn't going to do this, but after listening last week during the public comment session, I felt like maybe I needed to revisit this. Because my ask last year wasn't about getting my sidewalks cleared by the city. It was much bigger than that. It's actually about looking at plowing strategies that look at more than just a car-centric culture. And that's a really difficult ask because, of course, we all think about cars as being the way to get around. But now, of course, we know how important it is to walk and all those other things. And we do have a complete streets policy, which doesn't necessarily cover plowing. But my point is that, you know, I wanted to, again, kind of reinforce the fact that we need to really think about how alternative transportation. So anyway, you know, streets are designed, you know, to accommodate different forms of transportation. And we're smart enough now to realize that when we create streets that are wide open and visually unobstructed, studies show that people will drive as fast as they're comfortable. It doesn't matter what the speed limit says. And good case in point is when you go down 3rd Street, you feel a little intimidated by all the cars being parked. But if you go down East Fair or Pine or Wright Street, where it's wide open, people have to generally consciously go the speed limit. So this is where I get back to what I talked to you guys about last year. City plowing. When cities' streets are plowed aggressively, widely, especially now that there's no parking during the night, you're essentially encouraging people to go faster. But it's not only that, it's also the point that snow that's coming off the street is going into the walkable areas for people. Many times those areas have been cleared, those sidewalks, but because of the speed of the city plow, that comes up into the sidewalk area, and it's the compressed avalanche type snow that's difficult for people to get to. And then people then are forced to walk in the streets, again, where cars are going faster now, and it's in the morning in the dark. So, I mean, I know there's reasons. I'm hoping maybe, again, I just want to keep this kind of on the top of the priority list, and hope that we continue to work on areas that can be conducive to other forms of transportation. That's it. Thanks.
Anyone else for public comment?
Hello, Margaret Brum, 404 East Magnetic Street. I'm here to deliver some good news to the City Commission and the people of the city of Marquette. Last Wednesday, I picked up 9 water samples from Dr. Leslie Putman's experiments on using hemp to mitigate the effects of PFAS and other related compounds that are currently contaminating many parts of the state of Michigan and other states. This was a culmination of Dr. Putman's work last summer in actually using the NMU farm, which is off of Big Bay Road, to grow hemp in outdoor above-ground planters, and then to contaminate the growth period with water contaminated with PFAS scientifically. And now these samples are going to a lab downstate. I just got the email, not 3 hours ago, saying the labs received them. And of course, with the holiday break, we may not get the results this year, but they're there. And I wanted to mention this because, of course, we don't have the results yet. But the reason that we were able to get these samples created this year and also sent to a lab that charges $375 per sample was not because of any grant from Northern or the state or the city or the county, though Lord knows I asked. It's because of a person stepped up who's not from here, but in every way except from being physically here. She qualifies as a Youper. A good friend of mine for over 20 years. She's an attorney in Virginia. I told her what work we were doing and that we were stymied because we were out of sync with the grant program. You have certain due dates for grants, and we didn't make any of that. And she found out I'd spent my own money on the planters and dirt setting up the farm, and she reimbursed me for that. And then she found out I could not get money from anyone to have the samples tested in the official lab, and she came through with a check for that. So thanks to my friend, and tonight she allowed me to use her name. Her name is Sherry Retta. She is an attorney in Virginia, one of the finest attorneys I've ever worked with, and very interested in our ecological problems and very interested in putting her money with people who are trying to solve it. She contributed over $5,000 in cash of her own money to this project, which was used, she didn't think it was fair that I paid for the farm, and also was used to send the samples out. So this is just the bestest news possible, because a year ago we were about a month away from the meeting in January where we found out what the consent agreement was for the Marquette County landfill. And now we're gonna have real data generated by the NMU farm to see how we can grow hemp to mitigate PFAS. So people ask sometimes what a Youper is, and my attitude is, as long as you care about us and our culture and our norms, you can be a Youper no matter where you are. And my friend Sherry is one. Thank you very much.
Anyone else for public comment?
You get a taller one. Dimitri calls us 2016 Longyear Ave. First off, I'd just like to say I support a split tax system. Mostly, I don't know if any of you heard, but Detroit is using that system or is looking at it to, increase their land value and help the people that can't afford to own a house and pay the property taxes at the same time. After that, I'd just like to ask all of you if you guys have any New Year's resolutions for Marquette, and that's really it. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, public comment is now closed, which brings us right over to presentations. And our first presentation tonight is the Marquette Area Sister Cities Partnership Trip to Higashiomi, Japan, and Paulette Lindbergh is here to do that presentation.
Okay, someone adjusted the mic, so you tell me if you can't hear me.
We can hear you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Davis and city commissioners and special guests for having us here tonight to do a presentation of a gift that we received as we traveled through Shiga Prefecture in October. We are 5 people from Marquette, and I will introduce them. You have Mayor Sally Davis, who wasn't the mayor then, but we're honored to have her introduced as such when we present this gift to all of you. The three people in the front to my immediate right, we have Colin Banger. He's a graduate student at Northern Michigan University. We have Marilyn Borowski, who works in the Sandy Knoll offices, and her husband, Jim Borowski, is the CEO, if I get this right, Jim, for Goodwill Industries here in Marquette and for areas of Wisconsin. I have Bill Brazier, who was not on the trip with us, but has been on many. He's our secretary for our board. And hiding behind us here is our co-chair. Oh my God. Mary Lou Blomquist. I don't know her with a mask on. So 5 of us traveled October 19th to October 28th to Shiga Prefecture. Our sister city of Higashiomi is located in that prefecture. So prefecture is like a state, our state of Michigan. We traveled with 32 of the Goodwill members from around the lower Michigan area on a mission for representing Michigan. We had 3 different cities that we visited. We started out in Kusatsu for 2 nights. Then we were brought to our individual sister cities. So we went to Higashiomi for 4 days and 4 nights. And we were there October 21st to the 25th, Saturday in and Wednesday out. While we were there, we had the pleasure of meeting with the city mayor, Mayor Ogura, who has been to our city before and is promising he will try to come back with the delegation in 2024. He only had a few days here the last time, but he'd like to stay longer. We also had a chance to meet people in the planning department who make their arrangements for coming here and work with us in the background on all of our exchanges of communications and information. While we were there on Monday, the 23rd, we had a special meeting with the mayor and the city officials, at which time we exchanged gifts. And I would like Mayor Davis to come forth, and I will present her, which she has seen before. And I will present her with the city gift, which is here.
Well, you have to
You
sit.
come over here so we can get a picture. The gift has a history behind it. It's made of nunobiki-yaki. I got the signal, stop talking. Thank you,
Okay.
thank you. It's made of nunobiki-yaki, and it's got a long history. And it will be on display in the Sister City Room at Peter White Public Library
Pick it up and show
with,
the commissioners.
with the explanation of the background of what the beautiful princess is doing wandering on this platter. It's a very long one, and I assured Sally I wouldn't stay here tonight and try to read it in English or Japanese. So I would say after the first of the year, you can visit the Sister City Room, and it'll be there. Also, we have a framed group.
Oh, I did that to you, Paula.
Okay, we may have to lay it flat. We have the framed group picture of us as we met with the committee at the mayor's office. Sally right in front with me and many others, the Borowskis and Colin, of course, and many of the city officials, which included school officials, university, Rotary people, a lot of Chamber of Commerce people were involved there. And it was a very hearty welcome for all of us, I thought.
Oh, yes.
So we hope that all of you here in Marquette watching this program tonight or hearing about trips to Higashiomi, we've been doing this for 44 years, alternating visits, with the exception of 2019 until this year. We had an interruption, of course. And we will welcome them when they come back to Marquette for their first after-COVID visit next summer. We're urging them to come maybe at the end of July when we have many fun things going on in the city, and when perhaps a lot of the commissioners and the city community people will be here to welcome them as we were welcomed in their city. When we left on that Wednesday, we then continued on to Otsu, and we met the governor of Shiga, who had just met our governor in October when she visited Shiga Prefecture. And he had also been in Michigan in June to celebrate the 55th anniversary of Michigan's Sister City program. So we are only 44 years old. The program of Sister Cities is considerably older, internationally and domestically and in Michigan, but it's something that we can all be very proud to be part of. So I thank you for the opportunity to present and to, Mayor,
No, I'm gonna hug.
we did this a lot in Japan. Thank you.
I guess I better ask if anyone has any comments or questions for our sister city delegates. Commissioner Smith.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you. It's, you represent us well, you all do, including Mayor Davis, and I appreciate the bond, the international connection that we're able to have through this. So I hope it continues for many more decades. Thank you.
I guess as part of the sister city delegation, I can allow you that.
It was good to be home.
Okay. And if you, I'm just going to have you indulge me for a moment because there's some things that I just like to say about our sister city program that Paulette didn't get to say. And I was assigned to the sister city board by Commissioner Smith, who at that time was the mayor. And it was when I first year on the commission, and you know, I just have to say thank you for that. That was a really nice assignment. And as Paulette said, this started 44 years ago, and it was started by the Rotary Club of Marquette. And Dr. Price Durfield was very instrumental in beginning that relationship. He has since passed, but he led the contingency for several years. And I don't know how many people know this. One year he suffered a really tragic accident over in Japan. He was walking through a rice field, and they were harvesting rice, and he had both of his legs cut off. But that did not deter him, and it actually, I think, in some ways strengthened our relationship with Japan, with Higashiomi. And then when he was no longer able to provide that leadership, Paulette stepped forward and has provided really wonderful leadership to the exchanges over many years. I asked her several times how many trips she made to Japan in this capacity, and she doesn't know. But it's been, if you think about the 44 years, a lot of those years were hers. And correct me, Paulette, if I'm wrong, she counted up about 4,000 people who have been involved in the Sister City program, whether they're from Japan or from here in Marquette. So that does a lot, this says a lot about our international relationships. I also, so they will be coming here next year, hopefully in the summer, and I hope that we give them as warm of a welcome as they gave to us. And the other thing I want to say is that we have another sister city in Finland, and it hasn't been as strong in recent years, but Dr. Randy Jensen, who is also on our board, is over there right now making some more contacts, and I think that we'll be seeing some exchanges with Finland very soon. And to the community, any one of you can join these sister city delegations. And so if you're interested, take a look at the Sister City website and let us know that you're interested. And in the future, maybe one of the rest of you will be joining us. Thank you. And with that, thank you very much. Good to see all of you again. I haven't seen them since Japan. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, and this will be a roll call vote. Commissioners, do I have a motion? Pardon? Oh, yes, I suppose we should have Kyle do a vote.
Nobody wants to hear you anyway.
We do have a second presentation. Thank you. The election board by our city clerk, Kyle Whitney.
Thank you, Mayor. I probably do talk enough, so we can call it off if we want. Yeah, I'm here tonight just to give the presentation, the annual presentation for the city's election board. I said typically when I give this presentation, it ends up being more about elections and the elections board, because the elections board is it's kind of a rote process that doesn't change too much from year to year. This year's a little different. The elections board differs by state law. It is set by our charter. So our city charter establishes the membership of our elections board. The clerk is the permanent chair of the board, and then there are 4 members of the elections board that the city commission appoints as you appoint all the members to the other boards and committees in the city. Of those 4 members, we do have 1 whose term is expiring in the spring of 2024. So if anybody here knows anybody who's interested in being on the city elections board, feel free to tell them. Those are 4-year terms. And kind of the meeting schedule tends to mirror the election schedule. So they have meetings around every election to appoint election workers, to test the tabulators for the election, and to verify candidates for public office. So candidates for city commission and board of light and power get verified by our elections board as well. Hey, look, there's all the stuff I just said. They also have the ability to establish absent voter counting boards, which our election board has done in the city of Marquette, and also to establish precinct boundaries, which is the slightly unusual thing that they did this year. As everybody here knows, I think, because we literally just talked about this a week ago, we had 7 voting precincts in the city of Marquette for a number of years. And there was a change in state law that allowed us to consolidate those precincts and have a few more registered voters in each precinct. And the city elections board changed those boundaries to look like this. We now have 4 election precincts in the city of Marquette. And I mean, we can answer questions if there are any about that change, but kind of the goal in making the shift that we made was to keep everybody voting in the same place as much as possible. So there were 7 precincts in the city of Marquette. 6 of those precincts, even if the people have a new precinct number, they're still going to vote at the same location moving forward. 1 precinct will be in a different building. And the absent voter counting board, we kind of always give you guys this overview. Absentee balloting has changed drastically over the last few years. In 2014, 2016, this wasn't something we talked a whole lot about, and then things started changing. So in 2018, we had 1,300 absentee ballots. In 2020, we had over 7,000 absentee ballots. That was kind of a COVID special. That's not, I don't think we're going to get up to that number again in the near future, but it is still, in 2022, we had 4,400 absentee ballots. So it's a pretty big lift. There are changes to our absent voter counting board. There was kind of a raft of state legislation that was passed in the last few weeks or signed in the last few weeks. And it includes the ability to pre-process ballots. So that means that we're going to be running an absent voter counting board in the days ahead of the election as well, which I think is something that our workers in the absent voter counting board are going to appreciate, especially in busier elections when we don't trap them in one room for 14 hours. And just kind of a quick overview. I'm sure somebody here has probably heard about changes in elections in recent months and years, but there are new provisions that are kind of going into effect statewide. Some of these have already happened in the city of Marquette. We do have odd year elections, which a lot of municipalities don't. We were a pilot municipality for early voting, so we got on the cutting edge of that. But Proposal 2 of 2022 had a number of new provisions, early voting, some absentee ballot timeline changes, some expansion of photo ID, what meets the criteria for photo ID. There's a state-funded ballot tracking system, prepaid return postage for applications and ballots paid for by the state, and a permanent absentee voter list. So you can now fill out an application, tell us you want a ballot, and you don't ever want us to send you an application again, and we will just mail you a ballot for every election moving forward. I will say that passed, people always ask what the vote on that was, and in the city it was like 6,500 to 2,000. So it was overwhelmingly in support in the city. And then, there are a number of audit processes. I know we've kind of gone over these in the past. Our elections board doesn't necessarily get involved with these, but there are risk limiting audits, there are batch audits at a state level, the Bureau of Elections does procedural audits after every major election. There are random sample audits around the state where they just pick precincts out of a hat and do on-the-ground audits. And last year for 2022, we were part of a statewide recount for one of the proposals. So that was kind of interesting because we got to take part in that. A bunch of municipalities came together in Marquette Township, and we all essentially recounted each other's precincts under the oversight of the state. And the most recent election, November 7th, 2023, just last month, 14,600 registered voters in the city, 3,000 people voted. Our permanent ballot list, so that's the list of people who have asked us to receive a ballot forever, don't ever send me an application again, is about 3,300 people right now, which is a surprisingly high number, I think. You know, these are people who used to receive applications. I would say probably 85 to 90% of the people who got that option on their application and returned it selected that they wanted to now be on the permanent ballot list moving forward. And I think this is just a natural growth of a group of people who really started picking up absentee balloting as something they're comfortable with a few years ago. And every time we offer them, we lower the friction a little bit. There's a group of 3,500 to 4,000 people that take us up on the offer. And that's it. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Commissioners, comments or questions? Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you.
And my apologies. All right, now we're going to move on to the consent agenda. And Commissioners, may I have a motion? Commissioner Ottaway.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And a second. Pro Tem Hanley.
I second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Anyone? Okay. This is a roll call vote. So City Clerk, would you conduct the roll call vote?
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Larson.
Yes.
Commissioner Mayer.
Yes.
Commissioner Ottaway.
Yes.
Commissioner Schlegel.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hanley.
Yes.
And Mayor Davis.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to new business, we have the Cultural Trail Contract Award. City Clerk, could I have some background?
Thank you, Mayor. City staff advertised a request for proposals for a vendor to design, fabricate, and install 8 interpretive sites along the city's cultural trail. The following 5 qualified bids were received on October 16th, 2023. 106 Group, Flutter and Wow, Innovative Heritage, Sky Design, and Urban Ecosystems. A group of stakeholders has been working on identifying the 8 sites and gathering the information to be exhibited at each site. This stakeholder group consists of staff from the city, the Beaumeyer Heritage Center, the Marquette Regional History Center, the Superior Watershed Partnership, the Maritime Museum, Northern Michigan University, as well as a Northern Michigan University student, a Marquette Public Art Commission member, and a tribal representative. The group evaluated the proposals using the following scoring criteria: quality of past work, appropriateness of past work to project, ability to meet the timeline, references, and the location of the company. Urban Ecosystems LLC of Minnesota was the highest scoring proposal. Staff has worked with Urban Ecosystems and the city attorney to draft the professional services contract. Urban Ecosystems' fee is $100,000. $55,000 of this expense will be reimbursed by the city's Our Town grant, and the other $45,000 will utilize funds from the city's Native American Heritage Foundation grant. Fiscal effect: $55,000 is reimbursable through the Our Town grant, and $45,000 is available from the Native American Heritage Foundation grant received in fiscal year 21. Recommendation: award the bid to Urban Ecosystems LLC, approve the contract in the amount of $100,000, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the contract. Alternatives as determined by the commission.
And before I take a motion, I'm going to turn it over to the city manager for a little bit more information on this project.
Thank you. And I do believe that we have a map of the 8 proposed locations. So this contract would be for the design, fabrication, and installation of those interpretive signs along these proposed locations. And there's several different factors that go into what that looks like. And this has been something that was shared in the RFP and that has been shared out there as well. And it describes each of these locations and their cultural significance. The important thing to note is it's really hard to capture all of those wonderful things that we have that are important to our history and our culture and all the things that make us so special. So this really has been something that is this is almost a phase one, but with the ability to add on later on in the future if there is funding and if there's interest. So it's really hard to do with just 8 locations. We understand that, and this is not all encompassing, but it is just really the start of telling our beautiful story. And we do have representation from the Office of Arts and Culture here if there are any specific questions for this.
Would you be able to name those sites so that we can see them?
Oh, so, and honestly, if you
Oh,
don't
there we
mind,
go. That's what I was looking for.
Yes. And I do have Tina here as well, so she can, if there's anything specific on these locations that we want to look at, she can certainly share that. But it is one that you might just have to see for yourself when you go out there, and stay tuned. I think what we've also requested are some frequent updates on the status of this as it goes forward with design.
Thank you very much. That answers a lot of my questions. Commissioners, may I have a motion on this? Commissioner Larson, did I see your hand up? Sure. Okay. I thought kind of waved.
I'd like to make a motion to award the bid to Urban Ecosystems LLC and approve the contract in the amount of $100,000 and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the contract.
And a second? Commissioner Schlegel.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Larson, do you have any comments? Okay. Commissioner Schlegel?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. In 2002 or 2003, I think it was, when I was on Presque Isle Advisory Board, this was one of the things that we were really hoping to kind of get moving, identifying these great spots that really make Marquette what it is over time. So this is a great start, and I'm super excited to hear that this is just the beginning. We didn't talk about that in our review, but to hear that this can be added on to if there's other funds is a great opportunity for us to keep going with that. And I'd like to kind of get the ball rolling with the potential for making it a virtual tour for our visitors when they come into the community, and as we expand on this further, so that they can log into wherever they can log into and make it an educational process for them outside of the actual sites. So this is something, I guess I just getting kind of old now, but after 20 years, and you think about some of these things that take a while to get going, but thankfully we've got 2 great grants and I should say more than 2, but not 2 great grants, but a bunch of people that are really into this, that are making this happen. So this is a great program. Thank you.
Other commissioners? All right. I'm also pretty excited about this because not only is it good for our tourists, but it's also good for the local people to make sure that we are understanding our history and our culture. And I know that personally when I go to other cities, these are the kind of signs that I stop and read about, and I think that there will be many people that learn and appreciate more of Marquette with that. So let's take a vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Which brings us to our second public comment session. So, public comments is now open, and they may not exceed 3 minutes per person. Please step up to the podium if you have a comment. Anyone for public comment? Okay. Hearing none, public comment is now closed, which brings us to the comments from the commission. And Commissioner Ottaway, I will start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone in the community. And I'd love to answer your question with New Year's resolution I may have. Ultimately, my biggest goal when I was appointed as commissioner was to support the direct city staff of the city commission, and that is our city manager and city attorney. So my goal in 2024 is going to be to continue to do that and really do anything I can to support them in getting all of their goals accomplished, because in doing that, ultimately that makes our community better, and I think it's the number one drive for success that we have. So thank you.
Pro Tem Hanley?
Thank you. I also would like to answer Dimitri's question and give you my New Year's resolution. It's something that actually came up in one of my meetings recently. My goal is to try and make it to every board and committee that we have to at least one of their meetings this year. I think it's important that we see what they're doing and the work that's happening on the smaller boards that comes to us after the fact. So I would like that to make my New Year's resolution. So thank you.
Commissioner Schlegel?
Thank you, Mayor. Good question, Dimitri. I think I guess what I'm going to strive to do is to be more of a educational voice for the commission and for the city, and to allow people, to encourage people to interact and get involved, especially when it comes to just general basic information, and so that there's not misinformation. So it's something that I'm passionate about, and I hope to be able to get into in the future. Other than that, I would again encourage people. I was out, what was it, last week? Thursday, and it was kind of quiet on the streets downtown during the 6 o'clock hour. I think that most people are going to have extended hours for their shops starting this week. And I would encourage people to get out, go downtown, head up the road, hit our local shops, do as much shopping as you can, keep things local, keep these dollars local, and support our businesses for the holidays, and more importantly, be safe and have a great holiday. Be thankful for what you have and your family. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith?
Thank you. Thanks for the question, Dimitri. I would say my goal for the city of Marquette for 2024 would be to have increased participation in democracy. That can mean a lot of things, right? It can mean coming to a meeting, voting, maybe serving on a board or a committee. And I'm pledging to now, because I just thought of it, try to do my best to help get folks involved, which I kind of do from here, time to time, but it's good to have a renewed sense of something to look forward to doing in the next year. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Larson?
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. We got our first snowfall here, first serious snowfall anyway today, a little bit surprising. And as far as resolutions go, I think one of the things that I'd like to work with the commission on is to help to continue encouraging development as in accordance with kind of our new master plan that's going to be presented to us this coming year. Would like to support community sustainability efforts as we move forward with new energy laws, and as we start to think of opportunities that the city and our surrounding area can engage in in terms of sustainability, efficiency, clean energy.
Commissioner Mayer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kind of wish I wasn't going last on this, because I don't want to not answer you, Dimitri, but I don't really do New Year's resolutions. But I will say that I guess a goal for next year, I'm always really passionate, focused on the economy, but I think I'm going to also kind of go with Commissioner Smith's lead a little bit as far as really looking at our healthy democratic process next year, and hopefully not ending up, at least me personally, ending up in DC come January 25. So, yeah.
Thank you. So, Dimitri, I bet you weren't expecting us to all answer your question. And so I will, I guess I hadn't thought about it as New Year's resolution, but there are a couple things that I've been wanting to do as my year as mayor. And, of course, we have the master plan coming up that will be finalized pretty soon, and I'm hoping that we get a lot of community involvement and engagement in the final plan of that the feedback. And Commissioner Hanley and I, or Pro Tem Hanley and I had this discussion, and I didn't know that she was really going to be doing all of those committees, but I have also pledged that I will be attending all of our committee meetings at least once during the year. And I have, I'm really interested in getting our community to know more about what happens at the city, and along with the city commissioners and the staff knowing what's happening out in the community. And I have an idea, and our city manager and I have talked about it. I don't think we're ready to announce anything yet, but look for something coming up in the future. I hope she knows what I'm talking about. The other thing I wanted to point out is that we approved 2 grants this evening. And one of them was the Cultural Trail, which was it'll be a very significant part of our community. And I'm really appreciative of that. The other one was hidden in our consent agenda, and it has to do with the Presque Isle dredging contract. And, we've been talking about for a couple of years, and sometimes government obviously moves pretty slow, but it's a really critical port infrastructure for our port and our economy, and it's going to help with our shoreline restoration. And these grants and contracts just take a lot of time to implement. And that one, by the way, that grant is a little over 1.6 million grant plus a match from CCI for $750,000. And if you think about the kind of grants that are coming into our community without us dipping into our general fund, it's really pretty amazing. So I want to just give some kudos to our staff and those that work with our staff for finding these grants. So thank you, and happy holidays. City Manager.
Thank you. Just a gentle reminder as we head into the holidays that we will be closed on Monday, December 25th and Tuesday, December 26th, as well as Monday, January 1st and Tuesday, January 2nd. And then also during these holiday times, let's not forget that our police department, fire department, public works department, and those that are at the wastewater treatment plant and the water filtration plant do work on these holidays. So keep them in mind as you're enjoying some warm and cozy time inside, as some of our folks are still out there. So just a great kudos to those that are working even during the holidays. So that's all. Thank you.
And with that, we will close this meeting at 6:42 p.m. We will close this meeting at 6:42 p.m.